Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video is the recording of the community event which was conducted in the learners group where we are trying to make a use case which is for the HR. The use case name is generate offer letter. In case you have missed the webinar, you can follow along and watch this recording. To attend more such community events, I request you to join the Uipath community. The links are available in the description. Feel free to RSVP all the upcoming events. Having said that, let's get started.
So everyone, welcome to this session on hands-on lab with the use case. And I welcome Mukesh to lead this session. And thank you for taking the time and suggesting the topic as well. So this topic was suggested by Mukesh, like how RPA, like how to cover the use case from end to end. So Mukesh, over to you.
Yeah. Gancham, I have just started my screen share. I hope you are able to see the screen.
We are able to see the screen.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the confirmation. Okay, so I will just introduce myself. Hi everyone, this is Mukesh. I am Uipath MVP for 2022, and today I am going to present you a use case which I would be building step by step manner. Right? If you are someone who are looking for a use case building, or you have done your learning and now you're looking something that where can I implement, right? So this is an industry level use case which I have prepared. I would be explaining you the use case and then you can practice the same along with me. If you are left somewhere, you can again rewatch the recording and all the training materials, everything would be available to you. Okay. So having said that, I will just turn off my video for better connectivity. And I am just presenting this slide. Okay. So what exactly is the use case? Okay. So before presenting that use case, let me just quickly show you this one. Okay. Okay, so the process which we are trying to automate today is called the offer letter generation process, which is for the HR vertical or the human resource vertical. Okay, before we automate any problem in RPA, it is important to understand that what is the problem statement and or I would say that what is the manual process. So this is the manual process. On regular basis, the HR people or the companies would go to the colleges. They will interview a lot of students, then some would be selected and some would be rejected. Now after that, what happens? The HR people will have to maintain all the statuses in an Excel sheet. That okay, we have interviewed 500 candidates, 100 got selected, 400 got rejected, 300 not responding, and some statuses they will maintain. Once the statuses are maintained, what they have to do? They have to generate the offer letter for the selected candidates, which means that if there are 400 candidates who are selected in a campus hiring or a bulk hiring, the HR people have to generate the 400 offer letters. Now, if you would see the efforts of generating the offer letter, the work of generating the offer letter, single offer letter is exactly the same thing. What exactly is changing? The name of the candidate, maybe his address, salary, and his email address. Otherwise, the process of generating the offer letter is absolutely the same for all the candidates, repetitive and mundane. So that is where RPA can fit in picture. And this is the problem statement which we are going to address, and we are going to see a solution also. Okay, so this is the as is process, or we can say manual process. Interview, selected, lot of candidate in the Excel, and we have to generate our offer letter. Now, and after that, once the offer are generated, they have to send an email also to the candidate, which is again a repetitive task. So if there are 100 candidates with selected offer letters, we have to create 100 offer letters and then send email to them. Now, what would be the automated process? So in RPA terminology, you call is as is versus to be. So as is the manual process and to be is the automated process. So whenever somebody asks you what is the difference between as is and to be, so this is a difference. As is how the person is doing manually, and to be is how the robot is going to do it. Now let us see how the robot is going to do it. So this part where the status, generating interview, having the selected and the rejected candidate and maintaining the Excel, this part cannot be automated because the robot cannot go and take interview. Where exactly would the robot come in picture? So once the final Excel sheet is created, which means that, okay, we have got 400 candidates. Now here a robot will pitch it. What the robot is going to do? The robot will read the Excel. It will filter all the candidates wherever the status is selected. Then you will have, it will ask the people that give me the offer letter template. It will generate the offer letter. and it will send the email, and this it will do for all the candidates. So this is the process what we are going to build today. Okay, so before I continue, I quickly want to show you how exactly this looks like. Okay, so the input to the process would be this Excel sheet. So this Excel sheet can be anything. As of now, I have just only put 20 candidates. It can be 100, 200, 400. Assuming that this is the candidate list which the HR has prepared. Some are hired, some are rejected. And for the hired candidate, there is an email ID. As of now, everywhere is my email ID. Somewhere it is email ID is not correct, somewhere is blank, somewhere it is not correct. So there are different, right? This is an incorrect email ID. So all these scenarios, the bot has to tell the HR that I was not able to send an email to this one because the email ID was wrong, right? So we will think as it as an industry level use case and how we can treat it, right? So this is the input sheet, and the expected output would be offer letter generated like this, right? So I just open for this guy, the first one, Dulce Abril, right? So this is the offer letter which the bot has generated with his ID, his address, the date, whatever, all these details, right? And this has been sent to the candidate email ID also. Now, if this is the HR offer letter which I have to create, how do I create it, right? So this is the offer letter. This is the robot which we are going to build today. So let us start by creating the solution design. So we understand the problem statement, that what is the as is process, what is the to be process. Now, before we start any project in RPA, the first thing is you should be very clear of what you are going to build. Okay. So for me, I can see that the repetitive task, the transaction, what is changing. So if I ask you what is changing, the changing factor is only the candidate name. Okay. The candidate email ID, the candidate maybe the address or the salary, right? Now the process of generating the offer letter is exactly the same. So that means we have to divide this robot into two parts. First would be the dispatcher and other would be the performer. Now why I'm dividing it into two parts? The purpose of dividing it into two parts is that tomorrow if the number of candidate increase from 100 to 4,000, okay, and if I have created a single robot, what would happen? The single robot will take a lot of time to process this. But if I split the robot, what would happen? If the number of candidate increase, I can run this process in multi bots. So if there are 4,000 offer letters to generate, I will have 10 robots. If there are 5,000 robots, 5,000 offer letter, then I can have 50 robots, right? So I can distribute the work. But if I create everything in a single robot, then I would not be able to distribute, or it would be difficult to distribute. So first thing is we are going to distribute in a dispatcher and a performer. So those of you who do not understand dispatcher and performer, dispatcher is a robot whose job is to just read the Excel, filter out the candidate and load the data into the orchestrator queues. So if you will see, this would be what the dispatcher would be doing. It will be reading the Excel, filtering out the hired candidates and putting into the orchestrator queue. Now, if you are looking at the diagram here on the extreme right, dispatcher is a process which reads all the data and add the data to the queue. Now, Uipath has a mechanism where you can add data to multiple queues, where you can add data to a single queue, right? So as of now, we are using only a single queue. So that is what dispatcher is going to do. Once all the data is available in the queue, we would have one more process, which would be called performer. The performer will read all the items one by one from the queue. It will generate the offer letter and it will send an email also. Now, if I club everything in a single robot, what would happen? I won't be able to scale it. So that's why we are dividing it into dispatcher and performer. Okay. So I hope you guys are clear and you have the study material with you. So let us see how actually we can proceed. Okay. So I am in my UiPath studio. Okay. This one. Now, before I start anything, dispatcher can be built in RE framework. So performer, we are going to build in RE framework. Dispatcher, we can build in a sequence, in a flowchart or anything, right? For this demo, I'm going to build a dispatcher in a single process, but you are free to do the dispatcher in a RE framework as well. Okay. So first thing, let us try to create the dispatcher. I will go here and I click on new process. Okay. I call this process as dispatcher. Okay. Dispatcher for HR robot. HR robo. Okay. Now, whenever you create, so in this exercise, right, I am going to also tell you that what are the best practices you should follow while creating a robot. Okay. So the first best practice is the robot name should be proper. It should not be ABCD. The second thing is that this thing should be proper. Okay. Because this is the thing which you are going to see in the orchestrator as well. So that's why always provide the proper name and the proper description. I hit create. Now till the time this is loading, so this Excel is the Excel, which is the input Excel, which I am receiving from the HR. I have to filter out only the hired candidates and I have to load these items to the queue. Okay. When I say I have to load this item to the queue, that means first of all, I should have a queue in the place. If I'm not having the orchestrator queues, where I will upload, right? So let's go to the orchestrator. This is my Uipath community orchestrator. I go to home. Okay. So make sure whenever you are working with any version of Uipath that you are working on the correct folder. Okay. So I am going to Uipath Orchestrator. Okay. This is an important thing because sometimes you create queue in other folder and you are looking at some other place. So I have this many folders available. So I will go to the admin folder, which I am working as of now. Okay. I will go to the queues and here I will create a new queue and I will call this queue as offer underscore letter underscore queue. Okay. So this is the queue name. Now it is asking me, do you have a unique reference? I say no. I leave this setting to the blank and I just created a queue. So as of now, we have done nothing. We have just created a single queue, which is called the offer letter queue. It is having 0 items because we have not loaded the queue yet. Okay. Let's go back to the dispatcher. Okay. I can close the other ones actually. Yeah, this is the one. Okay. I will click on open main workflow. So this is what the first time the robot is going to execute. Now what is the first thing? The first thing is I have to read this Excel. Now to read this Excel, which activity I require? If someone can please tell me on the chat that which activity should we use to read the Excel in UiPath? You guys might be knowing it, right? Tell me in the chat. Meanwhile, I just go and drag and pair, right? So to read the Excel, we have an activity which is called Excel application scope. Why Excel application scope? Because I have Excel installed on my machine. I have a leverage to use the read range also, but I am using this one Excel application scope because I have the Excel installed on my machine. Okay. Now this guy will ask me, Mukesh, you tell me where is the Excel? So let me go back and check. Yes, my Excel is located here. I just go candidate info.excel and just copy the path of this Excel. Okay. Copy as path. Okay. And then I will pass the Excel here. Now, what is happening here? I am hard coding the Excel path here, which means that in future, if the HR tell me that, no, I don't want you to run this from the E drive, my automation will break. Okay. What would happen that if I give this automation to you, okay, or if I give this automation to Sanket and I tell Sanket, now you will run this automation. Sanket might not have E drive UiPath, then this automation will break, which means that we should not hard code anything in our automations, right? Now, what is the alternative? You should always store this path in assets, right? So you go to UiPath in the same folder. If I go to assets, right, you can simply go and create an assets. So for example, if you see, I have already created an asset of Excel path of a letter and I have stored this path. How do I create? You just go here, create a new asset, pass the value of the asset, right? What is the path? Excel path like this. Okay. And I say that this is the input underscore Excel. That's it, right? And I just say create. Now, what is the benefit? The benefit here is in future, if the path changes, I don't have to change my automation. I just can come to orchestrator and change this path. So now I have created an asset here. How do I read the asset in orchestrator? I go here and I use an activity called get asset. Drag and drop it here. It will ask me for the asset name. This is the asset name. Where do you want to store? I hit Control+K and I say str underscore Excel path. I created a variable. That means whatever Excel path I'm getting from the asset, pass it here and now you pass this Excel path here. As simple as that. One more thing, whenever you are writing code, make sure you log the messages, which means that whatever you are doing, right? How would you know that what the robot has done? That's why it is important to have the log messages, right? So I am just printing that the path of the Excel is this, okay, which is nothing but the str Excel path. So reading the asset, printing the path, and then reading it in the Excel application scope. Now, what is the next thing? The next thing is we have to read the data. Now to read the data, I would use an application which is called read range. Drag and drop it here. Read range will ask me, tell me the sheet name. The sheet name is status. Now you might ask me a question, Mukesh, what happens if the sheet name changes? So the answer would be sheet name should be also coming from the orchestrator asset. Okay. As of now, I'm just passing it here, but make sure you create an orchestrator asset. Now, what is the range you want to read? I want to read this complete range from here. So I just put it here double quotes, which means I want to read complete range. Output of a read range is a data table. There is a shortcut, which is Control plus K, and I say DT underscore data, which means that now I have read all this data and it is available in this variable, which is a data table. Now Uipath is having all this data, right? Now what is the next thing which I have to do? I have to add the items to the queue, but only where the status is hired, right? So how do I do it? I go here. Since it is a data table, how do I know? I go to the variables. You can see that DT data is a data table. Now I have to filter the data. To the filter the data, I will use an activity which is called the filter data table activities. Just drag and drop it here. Now filter data table activity will ask me, tell me, what do you want to filter? So I say, I want to filter this DT data. Okay. I want to keep only where the column, which is called status. Okay. I just say here, status is equal to hired. It is as simple as that. Okay. I just say that, and I put here equal to. Wherever the status is equal to hired, I want you to filter the data and keep the data into a new data table, which I call DT underscore hired. That's it. My job is done. Now Uipath will filter this data and give the data in DT hired. But again, how would I know that if it is filtered correctly or not, right? So I will use a write line here and I am printing something, right? Now you would see the benefit of logs. I say that hired count. I'm just trying to print that how many candidates are hired so that I can validate, right? So I just go here and I say DT hired dot rows dot count dot toString, which means that I simply want to count how many items are there before adding it to the queue. Okay. Let's save everything. I'll go here. I can see that there are approximately 20 items. I'll close this guy. Okay. I say don't save. Let's try to run this automation and see what do we get. Okay. I go here and I say run the file. As of now, we have not loaded the data to the queue. You can see in the admin folder, in the queues, the offer letter queue is still blank. We have all the items as 0. My robot is running and it says that could not find the asset with this name. Okay, now why is this error coming? This error is coming because you would notice, I told you, right? The first thing to remember is admin folder. I created my asset in the admin folder, and in the Uipath, I am working in the different namespace, workspace, right? So that's why it is important for you to work in the correct folder. I told, but I myself forgot to switch, right? So I switched to admin folder here, right? Now let us try to go here and say run the file. Okay, so that's why this folder structure is important. Okay, and Uipath robot is still executing. Okay, job done. Now how do I know? Let me go to the output. I can see the path was able to get the successfully, and the higher count was 12. That means out of the 20, 12 people are hired, right? So this looks correct because I have just printed the hired count. So that means my robot is working fine till this point. Now, what is the next thing? The next thing is we have to upload this data to the queue. Now, to upload the data to the queue, you have two mechanisms. You can upload all the data at once, which is called bulk upload, or you can use a for each loop to upload the data one by one. So for this one, I am going to use a bulk upload. So what is the benefit of bulk upload? Bulk upload allows you to upload the entire data table. So it's very simple. If I go here, bulk add queue items. It's simple. Tell me the data table. Which is the data table? DT hired. Don't put DT data. If I put DT data, it will load the complete hired and the rejected candidates, right? But I am only interested in DT hired. Now it is asking me, tell me the queue name. So let's go back to the orchestrator. In the admin folder, I go to the queues, and this is our queue, which is offer letter queue. Now I go here and I put it in the double quotes, save this, go here and run the file again, right? Now what is the expectation? This time, all the hired candidate should be now loaded to the orchestrator queues, which means that now I can run a dispatcher. Okay, this is completed. Let me go back to the here. I hit a quick refresh. Okay, it will take some time to load. Let me check either if we have got some exception. Okay, we have not got any exception here. Let me go to here and view the transactions. Okay, now as you guys can see, I have got 12 items. Now all these items are in the new status. So if someone asks you what is the status of the item when they are added to the queue, the status of the item is new when they are added first time to the queue. Okay, so if you want to check what is inside the queue, I can go here and click on view details, and you would be able to see that yes, this is the first name, this is the last name, and all this data information is coming from the Excel which we have loaded into the queue. So now my dispatcher is done. There are other things which you need to take care here in the dispatcher. What am I missing here? I have not done the exception handling, which is a very important part of any project, which means that what happens if there are exceptions. Now, to categorize the exception, we have two kinds of exception. One is called the business exception and one is called the system exception. Now, in this scenario, someday what might happen that you trigger the robot and there are 0 items, there are 0 names in the Excel sheet. In that scenario, there would be nothing added to the queue and the process will not run. In those scenario, your robot should generate a business exception. It should send an email to the HR saying that, hey, you have sent me 0 candidates, so that's why I am not generating any offer letters. If there is some system exception, let's say Excel is not able to read, Excel is corrupt, in those scenarios, it should create a system exception. Now, how do you create exception handling? How do? You just right click on this and you surround it with try catch. As of now, I am just creating a system exception that in case of any exception, I want the robot to log a message in the orchestrator, right? Now, this can be anything. I am just saying that error in dispatcher, right? So that way I am able to know in the orchestrator that yes, there has been some error in the dispatcher. Okay, and whatever exception, I am just printing that exception. Now, exception handling is a broad topic. So, but whenever you are coding anything, right, you should think always of the business exception as well as of the system exception, which might come in the process. Okay, so this completes my dispatcher. So what would happen in the ideal real world scenario? The dispatcher, the HR people will keep this Excel file in some place. The dispatcher will read it and it will load the data to the queue. You can schedule the dispatcher or you can run the dispatcher at, let's say, weekly basis, 15 days, quarterly, that entirely depends. How do you trigger it, right? So my dispatcher is done. Exception handling is limited here. There are things which are hard coded, but the things which you should always take as a best practice, there should be no hard coding. Okay, as I have just shown for one asset, there should be always a logging mechanism. Log should be available. Activity name should be proper, which I am not followed here because of time constraint, but all of the activity which you are using, right? For example, this one, get asset. So this is the get asset for Excel name, right? So all the activities should be named properly. Why they should be named properly? Because when an exception come in the UiPath Studio or when you are debugging, right? So if you are able to get something like this, input Excel, so you know that, okay, Excel application scope of input Excel has broke. But what if I simply tell you that the filter data table has broke? Now there may be 5, 10, 15, 20, any number of filter data table. So that is why it is important to rename the activities correctly, exception handling, logging, and all of these things you should take care. Okay. Okay. Now, this completes my dispatcher, which means that my items are now loaded to the queue. I can see that all the items are loaded to the queue. There are 12 offers which needs to be generated. Now, the second part of this process is to create a performer. The performer is going to be created in Robotics Enterprise Framework. Now, what is RE framework? Why we are using it? Because it says that it is a transactional process, good for the large scale deployments. So if you don't understand RE framework, I have this use case and all this complete things available step by step on my channel. You can watch those video and you will get to know that what dispatcher performer RE framework is, right? So as of now, just understand that whenever we are doing a real-time automation, which is for a large transactional process, we create it with the help of RE framework. Okay. So this is the performer for HR process, RE framework for HR. I'm just writing the name here because that is the best practice we need to follow. Okay. So performer and hit create. Now what is, do you want to save? Yes. Okay. Now RE framework is used whenever there are more number of transactions. As of now, I have only 12. So tomorrow, if this transaction increase from 12 to 1200, I would be able to run this robot on multiple robots. I would be able to run this automation on multiple robots. That means now my 10 robots can finish this. But if there is a single robot, if I'm not using RE framework, then it would not be possible. RE
Mukesh,
framework. Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. There is a question.
Yeah.
How can bots made on one machine share to other machine? Is it necessary to install Studio on target machine?
Okay. So how the bot made of is shared to the other machine? Okay. I can answer that one at the later moment because it is not related to this one. So as of now, to answer quickly, you can just deploy the orchestrator, sorry, the packet to the orchestrator. Okay. From the orchestrator, you can schedule it on the other machine. No, you do not require UiPath Studio, but to run the robot, you would require the UiPath assistant. The other way of sharing it, you can always create a NuGet packet and share the NuGet packet to the different machine, and then that guy can run it. Okay. Okay. Now, so why I am using UiPath, this RE framework? Because RE framework is best suited for transactional process. If you can see, create a transactional process for a business process for large scale deployments. Okay. So whenever you want to create a process which you can easily scale, easily increase the number of robots, decrease the number of robots, that is the place you use the performer, sorry, the Robotics Enterprise Framework. Now, Robotics Enterprise Framework works best with the orchestrator queue. I already have the orchestrator queue here. Now there are n number of benefits which the RE framework provides us. Now let us try to explore that. It is absolutely easy to use the RE framework template. You just need to know that what things you need to put where. Okay. So the first thing in the RE framework is the initialization block. You see here. In this initialization block, every RE framework start with something which is called this one, init all settings. Now, what is this init all settings? RE framework has something which is called a configuration file, this guy. Now, what is this configuration file? If tomorrow the path of the Excel changes, if tomorrow the queue name changes, I do not want to change the automation. That's why RE framework come with this file, which is called the configuration file. So the first thing in the configuration file I will change is orchestrator queue name, right? So I just go here and take the orchestrator queue name and pass it here. That's it. My job is done. One simple thing, and now my entire RE framework will use this orchestrator queue name. Okay. Now, the next, that is the only thing you have to do, and you don't have to touch this XAML. You don't have to change any code in RE framework. It is just a configuration. In the init all settings, you would have this guy, which is called config. Where do I get the config? In the project data folder. You just put the things which can change in future. You can put the assets here, you can put the constants, you can put the settings. You do not have to touch anything in the init all settings. It is absolutely plug and play. Okay. If orchestrator queue name, right? So this is for the processes which are in the old version of Uipath Studio. So for example, if you have some process which is built in 2018.3, we are not using, so I can keep this as it is. This one is again for 2018.3. I can keep as it is. I don't have to touch any of this process, right? Init all settings as it is. Don't touch this, don't touch this, because these are for the old version. Now the third one is kill all process. Before I start my automation, I want my environment to be clean, which means that so what am I going to use in this process? In this process, I'm going to use Excel, I'm going to use Word, right? And I'm going to use PDF to some extent. So if I'm running the process and let's say the application is already open, chances are there that my automation will break. So before we run any automation, I want to make sure that my environment is clean. So what do we do in the kill all process? In the kill all process, we kill all the processes. It says killing processes, whichever my robot is going to use, right? So how do I do it? There is an activity which is called kill process. Just drag and drop this activity here. In the kill process, you just have to tell the process. So the process name for Excel is Excel. That's it. So what would happen if I run this one? So you can see that now the Excel is open here, right? If I just go and say run the file, it will just go and kill this Excel. So I have just triggered the robot and you see the Excel is killed, which means that whenever I'm running the robot and whichever things my process is using, okay, if they are open, my robot should clean the environment and then run it, right? The other thing which I'm going to use is the Word for generating the offer letter, right? Because that is a Word template. So I go to Word. So this is the thing which I need to close. But how do I know that what should I put here, right? For Excel, it is Excel. What is it for the Word? It's absolutely simple. You just have to go to the any application. It can be Office, WordPad, alarm clock, any application you can kill. You can just right click, open the file location. Okay. Go here to the properties. Okay. And come to the end. So whatever you see before the exe, this guy, just copy it, cancel, go back to your Uipath Studio and pass it here like this, WinWord. That means now it will kill Excel, it will kill WinWord. So do you think I have done a lot of code till now in the performer? What do you guys say? Have I done a lot of code, or is it you guys are following along with me? You can just let me know in the chat. Are you guys with me? You are getting what we are trying to do, following along? Yes, no? Yes, we are not a lot of code. Okay, all good, all good. Okay, fine, fine. Okay, so you might not be able to follow along with me, but later you can rewatch the recording. I will share you more videos, then you can practice it on your own, right? So I'll give you the structure at least. Okay, now initialization is done. We have read the configuration file. We have cleaned the environment. So why do I only kill the Excel and the Word? Because I am only using Excel and Word. So I don't want to kill PDF. I don't want to kill my browser because I'm not using it. In case I'm using a web automation, I would kill the browser here. That's it. So I'll close this. This is done. This I don't need to touch. Kill all process. I have killed it. Logs it will automatically add. This is for the retries. This is already done. Now there is one more, which is init all application. What does it mean? If you see here, RE framework has closed all the things in the beginning. Now, do I want to reopen it? For example, let's say you are using a browser automation. In the browser automation, you have killed the browser. You have killed the Google Chrome at the top. But again, to reopen the Google Chrome, you would need to write some code. That code will be written here. In the init all application, you will use the application which your performer is going to use. For me, my performer is only going to use an Excel and that Word template that can be opened directly. I do not have any application as such, so I can keep this block as blank. But for example, let's say I'm doing a Google Chrome or I'm doing any, let's say Facebook automation. So in that case, I have killed the browser. So I would need to again open the browser also. So I will use the open browser here. As of now, this is not required, but in the init all application, what you do? You just open the application, whichever you need. So that is the only thing you will touch in the initialization, and everything else is taken care by RE framework. It is as simple as that. Now, in case of initialization, if there is any system exception, we need to go to end process. In the end process, we again, whatever we open, we just need to close. So I do not have open anything, so I do not need to close anything. Okay. The important bit here is the get transaction data. Okay. In the get transaction data, what happens? We read the items from the queue and we pass it to one by one to the performer. What happens here? In the get transaction data, all these 12 items from the queue would be read one by one. And how I will get it? If I just go here into the view transaction, here, all these items will be retrieved one by one from the queue. Okay. And we will pass them to the process transaction for generating the offer letter. So what is process transaction? Process transaction is the place where your actual business logic will lie, which means that how exactly your business operation. So what is your business operation? Your business operation is to generate the offer letter. Now this guy does not worry about where are you getting the data, right? So in the get transaction data, what happens? You don't have to touch anything here. It is absolutely pre-coded, handled, all the exception, everything done by RE framework. All you have to do is just validate. Okay. So you can see here, there is something which is called get transaction data, which means get the transaction data from the queue. If I just click and open the workflow here, you will see there is an activity which is already available by Uipath, which is called get transaction item. If I go to the properties, you would see I am telling Uipath that you go to this queue and get me the items one by one. Now, how would this RE framework know which queue? So it is saying that I will get the queue name from the config file from orchestrator queue name. So if I go to the config file, in the orchestrator queue name, I have put my queue name. So that is the benefit of using RE framework and the config. I don't need to touch this thing also. So get transaction data will absolutely work as it is for me without changing anything. The only thing which I need to change is this guy, the queue name here, because otherwise how would it know, right? So it says orchestrator queue name, and my second stage of RE framework is also done. Now, the third step is the process transaction. Now in the process transaction, what would happen? You will get all the items one by one from the queue, which means that I will get all these details, the first name, last name, address, status, and all, right? Now here in the process transaction, this is the place where you will write the actual code. Now how do I write? I will write the code in process.xaml. In the process.xaml, if you see, RE framework is by default passing the queue item for me, which means all those 12 transactions are coming one by one. Now it is on the developer that what do you want to do with this? So what do I want to do? I want to generate the offer letters, right? So I just click on open workflow here. See, it says that write your automation code here, right? Invoke the steps of the process here. So I'll just delete, start the process. What do I want to do? I want to generate the offer letters. Now to generate the offer letter, what I have done here, I have created an offer letter template. Okay. So this is a Microsoft Word template, right? So this has the placeholder, full name, address, date, name, and employer. What I want the robot to do is come to this place, replace this with the name, replace this address, replace this date, generate this, and then do it for the other, and then send the offer letters, right? So that is what we wanted to do. So to do this, we are doing a word automation. So since I was doing Excel automation, I have this one. So to do word automation, I would require the word activities here. I'm not getting the word activities because my project does not have the word dependencies. How do I add? Just right click on it, go to the manage, and in the all packages, just search here word, right? So this one, Uipath.word activities by Uipath. Install and save, which means I am telling Uipath that I need you to provide me the activities for word automation. Why do I need word automation? Because my template is a word file. Okay. So that is what it is restoring the dependency, which means it is giving me all the activities which are available, which are required for the word automation. Okay, let us just create the dependencies. Okay, and it should be done now. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to read this HR offer letter template from here. Okay, where can one search for which activities to choose? Okay, so this you need to go to activities. Okay, now the question is, how do I know which activity should I use? The activity names are very I would say very user friendly, or they are very intuitive, right? So for example, so to answer that, the first answer is it will come from experience. The more you automate, because as you know, right, reading the Excel, read range, doing the word, there should be something which is called word application scope. But if you don't know this, you can always go to Google and say, how do I read a word document in UiPath? You will get these activities. Okay, now similarly, we have Excel application scope. In the word, we have something which is called word application scope. Now, word application scope will ask me, Mukesh, tell me the document path. So my document path is here, which is this guy, and copy as path. But now, if I just pass this path here, some of you might raise a question that what happens if this path changes, right? You should not hard code. Again, the best practice. So, but now in the previous example, I stored it in the asset because I was not using RE framework. So I need to create an asset, read the asset and all those things. What is the benefit of using RE framework? You have to use this config file. Just pass this value here and just say here, offer template. So this is the benefit of using the configuration file. Everything, whatever you say, we can just put it here. Okay, like this. I just save it. Now I have added this template here. Now I want to use this offer template in my process. So all you have to do is in the here, you would write in config, which means from the config, what is the thing you require? I require to use the offer letter template dot toString because it's a string. That's it. Now in future, if changes, I need to just change this Excel file. That is why this Excel file is called a configuration file. Okay. Now I have got this template from here. Now what is the next thing? Once it is done, UiPath will come and it will just open this template document. So whenever you are coding, you have to think the automation one step ahead. So UiPath has read this template, and this template is now available in the word application scope. Now what is the next thing? The next thing is I want to replace all of these things, right? So to replace the thing, I search for something which is called replace. Okay. So as you can see inside the word, I have something which is called replace text. Okay. Let me drag and drop this here, replace text. Now the replace text will ask me search for, what do you want to search for? So I say that I want to search for this underscore full name, pass it here in the double quotes. Okay. Now it is going to ask me, you tell me what should I replace with, but this data is available in the queue. Now, how do I get it? So let me just quickly go here and create a new sequence here. Okay. Here, I am going to use an activity which is called multiple assign. Okay. This one. I'm going to create some variables, some temporary variables called str underscore name. What else we require here? Let us see. We require name, address, date. Control K, str underscore date. We require control K, str underscore address. Okay. So before I get this value from the queue, let me just put the value hard coded for just testing purpose, right? Whether if we are able to get it or not, right? In the date, I will just write now dot toString. Okay. So which means that I am trying to print the date. In the address, I am just saying India. Okay. So now if I'm able to pass this value, I should be able to pass the other values as well, right? Now, what do I want to replace? Replace the full name with, let's say, str name. Okay, so I will just go here and pass str. Okay, but again, I am not getting str name here because the scope of the variable is still this sequence. So I need to increase the scope of the variable so that I should be able to use it in the lower sequence here. Now replace full name with str name. Okay, copy and paste it here. Now what else? Replace what do I want to replace? Underscore date, right? So let's say I just go here and I say replace underscore date with whatever date which I have mentioned here, which is str date. I just go here and I say str date. Okay, and you can do it for all the other things. Let us see if I am able to, if I just run this automation, okay, if my robot is able to replace the text, read the config till this point or not. Okay, so once this is done, okay, so I forgot to mention, if the robot goes and replace this thing, and if the robot clicks on save, what would happen? I will lose my template. So I don't want to do that, right? So for that, what I need to do, should I do a save or should I do a save as? What do you guys say? Because if I want to do save this, I do not want to lose my template. Should I do a save or should I do a save as? Let me know in the chat. What should I do? Should I do a save or should I do a save as? Save as, right? Because if I do a save, it will do it, right? But again, how do I do it in Uipath? So let us search for activities, save as. Yeah, see, I have this one, right? Save document as. So save document as, what do you want to save the document with? I want to save the document with doc, RITF, HTML and all, right? Now, what is the save as file? Full path of the file. So I'm just going to use this complete path, okay, which is this one. So again, you can store this path in the assets, read it from here. But as of now, let me quickly use, okay, so here in the folder, let's create, I will just delete, okay, let me create a new folder. So this is the place where I want to generate the offer letters. Okay, generated offer. So this is the folder where I want to generate the offer letters, right? Now to generate the offer letters, I just copy this path. Okay, I can put it in the config file. So I will say that this is the final offer location. Okay, so this is my final offer location. In this location, I want to save the Word file. So I go here and in the save as, I say that I want to save it in the this location, which is final offer location dot to string followed by a name. So what should you name? So I should name it with the name of the person, right? So to do this, I have to prepare a path. So there is something, an expression which is called path.combine, which means I'm combining the folder location with the name of the person. I put the folder location here, comma, the name of the person. Where is the name of the person? The name of the person is in here, str underscore name. So I just say here str underscore name dot docx. Okay, sorry, this is the extension, I guess. Okay, so I am trying to save the offer letter with the save as at this location, but okay, I forgot to do a closing bracket like this. Okay, so understood this expression. This expression I am telling UiPath. So let me quickly show it to you what I have done. I am telling UiPath that once the offer letter are generated, you should save as. So when it says save as, I would require two things. One is the path, which I am getting from the config, and then the name of the document. So the name of the document is nothing but the name of the person. So it would go to this location, create a doc file with the name of the person and do a save as. Let us try to save this. Go here, put a breakpoint and try to run this automation. Okay, I'll go to the home and I can just close this one template because this I require. Excel again, UiPath will kill, but it is a good practice that you close everything when at least in the development. Okay, I go here and I say debug the file. I am trying to run the automation in debug file and I am expecting that it should go and automatically create the offer letter and do a save as. Okay, if that is able to do, then we have to just replace it from the items which we get from the queue. Okay, so let us see what has happened here. I am going to do a step into. So now it should open the offer letter template. The offer letter template is coming from the config file. I can see, yes, it has got. Now let me do a step into, which means now the full name should be replaced. Yes, it has replaced the full name. What is the next thing? It should replace the date. Yes, the date is replaced with today's date. It should replace, so okay, I have done only 2 replace. Now it should do a save as. Step into. I think save as is done. Let me go back to the folder. In the generated offer letter, you can say with that name, which is the name of the candidate, we were able to actually, let me just close this document. Okay, we were able to actually go and create an offer letter, right? So with this date. So now if I simply go, so my template here, if I just open my template again, my template is, okay, I think I by mistake, I did a control S here, right? So my template is still full here. Okay, I will just do it like this. Okay, so my template is now here, and in the offer letters, generated offer letters, you can see it is able to generate the offer letters for the candidate, right? But what is happening here? I have just hard coded the things here, right? I have hard coded the things. You would say that, Mukesh, you have hard coded it. So every time it is run it, it is going to generate the offer letter only for this name. But if you remember, we have loaded the data into the dispatcher here. Now here, all you have to do is come to your location. Now, where is this name? This name you should get from the queue, where it is in the queue. So take any of the item, go here into the view details. You would see that the first name and the last name. So first name is available in, this is the key. Okay. So just copy this, and I am telling Uipath that the name of the candidate you should get from transaction item dot specific content. This is the syntax. Okay, let me just expand it like this. Transaction item dot specific content. Then it is asking me what is the key. The key is this one, first name dot toString. That's it. Now whenever I am running, Uipath will be able to get this data from the queue, right? Now let me go here and see for the what else. Address. Address is available in the address field. So I'll go here in the address, again the same thing, right? What do I write? In transaction item dot specific content of what? Of the address dot toString. Similarly, you can do it for everything, and you can just add more attributes and just replace this. Now, what else I need to do here? Okay, now I told you that there is something called employer. The employer information is also available on the queue. Yeah, here we have the email address, everything, right? So you can do this. I believe now you guys should be able to do it. Now, HR offer letter is generated. Now, if I just simply go and run this process, now there is one thing which I want to tell you guys is that the item queue item statuses. Okay. So you might be looking at the queues for the first time. So I quickly want to show you that what happens to the items whenever they are processed. Okay. So if you see, one item has already got in progress because I just now triggered the process. Okay. So have a close look on the transaction. As of now, I have got 12 transaction. Okay. So let me just go and increase this to 25. Okay. I have got this one in progress because I just triggered it. So we'll just ignore. I have just 11 transaction in the process. So first time, whenever you add a status item to the queue, the status would be new. As soon as it is retrieved by the robot, the status changes to in progress, and then it is marked to success or faulted. Okay. So let me just go here and try to run this automation now. I will just have put a debugger here. I will go here and I run this automation again in the debug mode. So when I'm running again it in the debug mode, you would notice that the UiPath RE framework will go to the orchestrator. It will get the item one by one from the queue. Okay. So it has got the item. So last time I have hard coded it, right? But let's see what is the value which I have got: name, date, and address, right? So it has got the details for Mara, and May is her address, and this is the date. Now, if I go to the orchestrator, you would notice that one more item would have changed its status to in process, which means that RE framework is processing the item. See, a few seconds ago. Now, when I am running the process, it might be success, it might be failed, right? So let's go and see what happens. If I just go and click on continue, okay, so you would see that it will open the word template. Okay, it has created the offer letter. It will do it again, and now in the next run, it has created that one. Now it is generating the same offer for which guy? For Philip, right? If I go back to my Uipath Orchestrator, hit a quick refresh. Okay, so you can see the second item for the Mara was successful because the offer letter for Mara was generated, right? Now it is generating the item for, it is generating the offer letter for Philip. So that's why I can see here view details. Yeah, Philip is here. This is in progress because I have still put a debugger here. I hit continue and it will continue to run the process and it will execute it for all the things and it will generate the offer letters. Okay, I am stopping the robot here. So now I think you guys can continue this one. On the interest of time, I want to show you that how actually you should think of the real-time scenarios. Now, if you will see here, we have to also send an email to the candidate. Now, to send an email to the candidate email address is available in the queue, right? Something like here in the email. Now, when I have this email here, how do I get the email? So I will simply go here, add a new here, control K str underscore email. And I will say that I am going to use the email from the queue only, right? So where is the queue? This is my queue. From here, I want to get the email, which is this. Now, when I run this process, my automation, as it is able to get the first name, last name, it will also get the email. But now, when I am sending the email, there are certain things which might happen. The email address is incorrect or the email address is blank or not, right? In those scenarios, I will go and generate a business exception. Now, how would the robot know that when should I generate a business exception or this email ID is not correct? So if you see here, I have intentionally put some of the email IDs as incorrect, right? I have put some email IDs as blank. I have put some as incorrect, right? So let us see first of all, how do you send an email? So to send an email, once it is generated successfully, I will use an activity which is called SMTP. Again, I am not getting any mail activities here, right? So what do I need to do? Again, go to the project, go to the dependencies in the manage, in the all packages, just search for the mail, MAIL, and uipath.mail activities, hit install and save. Now, once you install it, you would be able to get all the mail activities which are available by Uipath to send and receive the emails. So not only you can send, but also you can receive and read the emails as well. Okay, so I'm just installing it. Let it just install. So see, there can be multiple business exceptions which might happen. That Excel can be corrupted. Okay, this is one exception scenario where this is blank, right? This email ID is incorrect. This email ID is incorrect, right? So how would the robot be able to send? This mail ID may be incorrect. So all this scenario has to be catered when you are generating this robot. But the question arises, how would I know, right? So that is what I'm going to tell you. To send the email, you have multiple options. In case you want to send it with the Gmail, you have to use the send SMTP. In case you have Outlook, you have to use the Outlook. So let's say I have Outlook installed. So I'm going to use this send Outlook mail message. Now send Outlook will ask me, whom do you want to send the email? So I say that I want to send the email to the email address which I get from the queue. So I just pass it here, str underscore email. But str underscore email is not available here because scope is limited. Increase the scope. Go here and now pass the str underscore email. Okay. Now what is the subject? So I say that the subject is offer letter. or what is the body, you say hi anything and something something, right? Now before sending this address, I need to verify if, right, I need to send a business exception. I need to check if the email address is blank. So how do I check? String dot is null or empty, which means your whatever you have got in the email field is null or empty, or it is string dot is null or white space email. So that means I am checking here that whatever email address I have received from the queue, if it is null or if it is blank, so I am going to raise a business exception. If it is failing this condition, that means there is some value, then you go and send the email. But if it is blank, if it is null, then I'm going to raise a business exception. So this is the most commonly asked interview question. How do you raise a business exception? So to raise the business exception, use an activity which is called throw. In the throw, go to the properties. In here, you just write new business rule exception. And you mention here that the email ID was wrong or email ID was missing. That's it. Now, when you run this process, if you get a blank from the email address, it will throw this business exception. Now, once this business exception is thrown, what do you want to do? Do you want to send? Do you want to send an email? Do you want to, retry it? Anything you can do with this. Okay. So this is one business exception handled, right? There can be other business exception, such as word template may be corrupted. The word file does not exist, right? All those business scenarios you would have to handle and think of that. How can you mitigate? Okay, so this was the use case which I have done. Now you might think that why you have used RE framework. So you can see in the RE framework, there are something which are already available for me, plug and play. If you will see here, for all the processes, everything, the exception handling is done. Try, catch, exception handling is already done. I do not have to write a single piece of code to read this Excel, right? The configuration file. Config file was readily available for me to use. Okay, I have just plug and play the value. Queue transaction, I have done such a big process just by putting certain values, and my automation was working perfectly, right? So that is the benefit of using RE framework, dispatcher, performer, and this one, right? So I have just shown you at this process, right, completely. So this I have not coded completely. I hope you can plug and play the things, but in case still you get stuck somewhere, right? So I just want to show it to you that this use case, the use case which I was building, so this is step by step already available on my YouTube channel as well. I have already created and uploaded this thing in the okay, practical assessment in the robotics enterprise framework playlist, right? So there is a playlist which I have dedicatedly created for RE framework. You can see this one, HR offer letter, dispatcher, and performer. This is all having step-by-step details. So you can always go and check this one. So this, for the guys who don't understand RE framework, just sharing you this link. This use case is completely built in this playlist. Okay. So this one was just to give you a high level that how you can build this use case. I hope now you understand that what are the basic thing you need to take care whenever building a use case. Okay. I will take a pause for the questions now. Okay. And if there are any questions, I am expecting a lot of questions because so I've just reserved this last 20 minutes for the Q&A only. Okay. So let me go to the chat. Okay. Where can one search which activity to use? Is there any website related to all these activities with description? Okay, so the website is this one. Okay, let me just go here. So the website with all those activity is docs.uipath.com. Okay, so to answers HP, I don't know who it is. So the question was, how do I know? So this is the place. It has all the activities whichever you require. There is one good feature about UiPath. So for example, you want to know about this activity. You just right click on it, click on help, and it will navigate directly to the docs.uipath.com. Okay, so this is the place where you will find the complete documentation. The website is docs.uipath.com. Okay, now guys, you can unmute yourself and ask your queries. I hope you guys have access to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yes, Mukesh.
Okay. Yeah, Dheeraj, any questions you have?
No, that was a very good session, and I'm very happy to learn the more automation regard like this. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you, Dheeraj, for the feedback. Guys, anything which comes to your mind regarding any questions? How do we do it in the real time? Any questions which comes from the dispatcher, performer, RE framework, anything's related to UiPath, feel free to ask me. I can answer that.
Can we get this recording session?
Yeah, so recording of this session you will get, but I have just pinged you the YouTube videos where I am explaining the same use case in a step-by-step manner in bit slower. So all the activities I have just pinged it on the chat. You can refer there. You will find this complete use case built on two parts: dispatcher, performance, step-by-step manner. For yes, this recording would be also available. So I think it would be available on the same link where you RSVP the event. After some time, you should be able to get this recording there.
Yeah, the recording will be uploaded either by Tuesday or Wednesday. So you
Okay.
should be able to access on the same community
Same
website.
link, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Yeah.
Okay. And whatever this code, whichever I am showing, right? So I have already created this code. So in case you require this code, you just drop me an email on my email ID. I will just share my email details. So you can just drop me your email ID and I can share you this complete code. So I have already created the complete code with standards, so I can share it to you. But I would request you guys to practice this use case first on your own and then refer to the solution. Okay, I can share you the files. Everything is available with me. Just drop me in a note on my email ID and I can share it to you. Okay, so I will just stop the sharing and yeah, guys, any questions you have? Nothing? All clear? Do you guys understood properly? And do you think that we should do more session like this on use cases? Would it be helpful?
Yes, Mukesh, definitely.
Yes.
Okay, so the idea is to, this was the first, this kind of session where we have done this use case. So I have some couple of more use cases on my mind, which I can bring live. I cannot build it end to end, but at least you guys get an idea, right? How the real-time use cases are done and all those things. Okay, so yes, we can plan more session. So I can bring more people and yes, so Ghanshyam had just shared the link. So I have just, yeah.
Is the link where you can actually, like Mukesh also shared some links. I shared some links as well. The links which I shared, Digendra, it's primarily that we talk about how to prepare for the UiPath examinations, associate developer. So feel free to go to that link. We will have, like, as Mukesh told in the beginning of the call, right? Like, we will be doing sessions on certifications itself, like completely end-to-end sessions. So you can attend these events.
Yes, yes. So feel free to attend the community events, right, for the certificate. How do we know whether it is a manually code or how do we know whether it is manually code or automatically code in Orchestrator? Sorry, Kumar, I didn't get that question. Maybe you can just unmute yourself. Manually code or automatically code? What does that mean? Sorry, I didn't understand that question, Kumar. You can unmute yourself, Kumar. Manually coded or automatically coded? Okay, automatically coded, you mean to say with the help of recorders?
Hi, Mukesh.
Hi,
it was
Kumar.
nice. It was nice, like session. It was great to see you. Actually, what exactly my question is, actually, while we are doing any project, like whether in like attended or unattended, the job which we will see in the job panel, like orchestrator, how we will know whether we have manually coded or automatically coded?
Coded, you mean to say triggered, right?
Yeah, triggered.
Okay, fine. So I can quickly share my screen to you. Okay, so this is my orchestrator. Okay, so if I go to my folder, so in the automation, so in the jobs, right? So whenever you start any job from here, okay, so let me just start a job from here. Let's say hello world. Whenever I start a job here, you will see the source as manual.
Okay.
Okay, I will just kill this. If the same job, okay, if I just go to triggers, okay, let me just enable this trigger, which is scheduled to run every minute. I will just enable this one. Okay, now this job should run in 1 minute. Okay, so see this one I have triggered manually. So the source is coming as manual now, right? Now let us just wait for this one. So which will trigger every minute. In few seconds it should trigger. So let me just refresh. So the answer to your question is this one. So see, this one, the source is hello, right? So let me just go and kill this one. Why this source is coming as hello? Because the name of the trigger is hello. Okay. Now, if you run it from Uipath assistant from here, this guy, then you will see here assistant in this location, right? So source here, you know that this is manual, this is from trigger, that is from assistant. Does that answer?
Yeah. Thanks, Mukesh.
Welcome. Any other question, guys, which comes to your mind, and any other use case which you guys think that we need to build, right? So always feel free to reach out to me. So last year I have made a couple of use cases for students only. Somebody has an idea of creating a news robot. Somebody told that, Mukesh, I want to create a robot for shopping, which goes to Amazon, which goes to Flipkart, compare the prices. We created shopping robot, we created news robot. So any idea which you have, I can definitely help you in creating the use cases, right? So just reach out. I have just shared my all the details over the
Mukesh,
chat.
one more question.
Yeah.
Where can we find use cases so that we can practice? I
hope you are able to still see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so there is a website which is called forum.uipath.com. Okay, so you go to Uipath forum, forum.uipath.com. In here, there is a dedicated use case repository. Okay, so if I go to category, you will see inside the here in the learn, you see there is something which is called use case repository. Okay, in the use case repository, you will find a lot of use cases, right? So these are all the use cases which you can try, right? So there are some of the use cases which I have uploaded. I can definitely help you with those codes and all, but you can see the name of the person who has uploaded it, right? So you can always reach out to them with this chat and email, and you should get the more details. But see, these are all the use cases which are available. And in case you have a specific use case which you want to upload, you also can actually go and upload the use cases. See, there are this many use cases which are available here, right? So this is the offer. This is the use case we are showing, right? A robot for HR. So this was the use case which is already uploaded here. So if you could have visited, you could have directly practiced and got all the details from here, right? So this is the use case repository. I'm just going to ping you the link over the chat so that you can refer it as well. Okay. Sir, we wanted to have the certification fees so we can stand out from the crowd. So yes, Digendra. So that is what just now have been pinged by Ghanshyam over the chat, right? So these are the two community events which are happening that are dedicated only and only to the certification preparation, right? This is a 3 or 4 hour session, I guess, where we only and only teach about the certification. So just RSVP the event and you should get the link to join them. Okay. So apart from that, feel free to connect me over the LinkedIn and Twitter, and I have the YouTube channel where you could see more of the use cases, right? And let me know your feedbacks over this one so that I can improve as well, because I also need feedback that what it went well, what is that which we need to improve on. Happy for the feedbacks. Okay. So what is an HD robot? HD robot means a high density robot. It is not a high definition, if somebody got confused. So it is a high density robot, which means, right? Okay, if I have to explain it in a very simple terms, as of now, this is one computer, right, which I am working. This is one machine which is owned by Mukesh. One robot is working. So at a time, only single robot can work. But what does the high density robot mean? High density robot means there would be a single machine, which would be a Windows server or a high configuration machine. That machine would be divided into different cores. When I say cores, it would have different cores. It has 16 cores, 64 cores, 32 cores. And at a time, you can run multiple robots on a single system. The second advantage of using high density robot is the availability. So tomorrow, if I'm running the automation on my laptop got crashed, my automation fails. When I'm using high density robot, what happens in case Mukesh's laptop fails, it automatically switches all the robots, all the jobs to the new machine. So that is the HD robots or high density robots. Okay, so any more question, guys, or we are good to close the session? In case there are no other session, we'll just wait for 3 to 4 minutes. You can connect with Ghanshyam, Vibhor, me on the social media over the LinkedIn, Twitter. Let us know your feedbacks. Okay, and let us know if there is any other use case which you want to build, we can cover in the same thing. Ghanshyam, over to you.
Thank you, Mukesh. Like I was a very what do I say? Like a very beginner user, but throughout your session, I followed with you the labs as well, and it was really informative. And thank you for sharing the links. And everyone, as Mukesh has told, like any request, feel free to let us know. While we are focusing more like on this particular user group, we are focusing more on student developers. It doesn't mean that it is intended only for students. Everyone who is a learner is a student. So feel free to write to us with your request, and the email ID I'm just typing in the chat. It is studentdeveloper@uipath.com. So write to us, and we will be happy to conduct any such events, more events. Maybe we can do a monthly series where, as Mukesh said, either he will be able to lead a session, or we will have other Uipath MVPs, and even our student developer champions. Monisha, you need not send us the email. You can send us you can write to us on the email ID which I mentioned there. It's studentdeveloper@uipath.com. With that, if no more questions, we can end the session today. Once again, thanks Mukesh for taking time out on a Saturday evening, and thank you everyone for participating, for joining on a Saturday evening.
Thank you, Ghanshyam.
End the recording.
Yeah, thank you.